Thank you so much for staying with us. Our next speaker will be coming on. His name is Bruce Beckett. He is the Director of our Government Affairs. He leads our lobby team that works diligently in keeping all of you, our members, in the know for very important issues. Today he's going to speak about minimum wage, so it's definitely something that you're all going to want to be a part of. When he's done, there are some evaluation forms on these tables here and pens. If you could please grab a pen and fill them out on your way out, we would appreciate it. So we know exactly what information you would like and what's helpful for you, so we can continue to provide you with the information that you seek. Thank you. Without further ado, Bruce Beckett.
Okay. Is that on? Is that on? Okay. Wow, big audience. My role today is really to set up Anthony Anton's discussion about the changing business model. I'm not going to focus deeply on the minimum wage, but we'll talk about some of the forces that are out there at play. First of all,
Drums are supposed to end at noon. Do you want to wait 30 seconds and see the drums in? You guys hear me?
oh, I can wait.
The drums are supposed to end at noon. You guys are waiting to hear it.
Okay, is that better? All right, well, we'll start all over. My role is to take a few minutes and set up the discussion that Anthony will have with you about the changing business model. And really, it's about the external forces that are facing all of us in small business all across the state. How many of you are aware that at the moment there are 5 different minimum wages in Washington State? Is there anyone aware of that? Yeah. There's Tacoma, there's 2 different minimum wages in Seattle, there's one in SeaTac, and of course the statewide minimum wage, and then a debate in Spokane about a local minimum wage as well. And there's currently 3 different policies guiding employers on paid sick leave. So what is it that's causing all this change, and what is it that's driving the discussion that Anthony will have with all of you? State and local governments are being pushed very hard to increase the minimum wage, to increase paid sick leave benefits, add new penalties for violations of wage and benefit laws at the local level. These used to all be the purview of the state or federal government, and then create new scheduling restrictions. And I'll touch on each of those. And there is a national, extraordinarily well-funded campaign behind all of this. A year and a half or so ago, $38 million was spent alone on the western United States, California, Oregon, and Washington. On the minimum wage issue, there will be an initiative on the ballot this November, we believe, Initiative 1433. It increases the minimum wage to $13.50 over 4 years. It'll be likely on the November ballot. They've talked about having $10 million available to spend to back this. Additionally, the local governments are taking action. SeaTac has a $15 minimum wage. Again, Seattle has 2 different minimum wages right now, depending on the size of your company. Tacoma has a $12 minimum wage phasing in over the next 2 years. And Olympia and Spokane have very active ordinances or resolutions that they're working on at the local level on the minimum wage. So state and local governments all over the place. Secondly, paid sick leave is now becoming part of the local government regulatory, if you will, toolkit. This will also be incorporated in Initiative 1433 if it appears on the ballot. Employees will accrue an hour of sick leave for every 40 hours worked. And if they don't use any in a year, they can carry 40 hours over into the next subsequent year. It would appear that an employee who's been with you for more than a year could have up to 12 days of paid sick leave eligibility, maybe even more, depending on how this is interpreted. Local governments, again, are acting on this. SeaTac has a paid sick leave policy. Seattle has one. Tacoma has one. Spokane now has one recently adopted. And they're all different, and they all have different record-keeping standards and different standards in terms of accrual. So businesses that are operating between these communities is getting to be more and more of a nightmare working between the communities, which is why we've always been stressing these things should be solved at the state level. And a new issue that's emerging and has, if you will, matured in the city of San Francisco is the issue of scheduling of your workforce, often called predictive scheduling. In other words, an ordinance or a regulation that will require employers to provide employees with at least a 2, maybe 3-week schedule in advance. And if you deviate from that schedule, penalties could apply, both in either wage or penalty compensation. Also, some of these ideas include the inability or restrictions on hiring more part-time workers as opposed to converting your current part-time workforce to full-time and regulating your ability to do that. This is currently very live in Seattle. We thought we might see an ordinance actually passed in the month of April, but it's slowing down a little bit because of the activity of restaurants and hoteliers largely. But we do think that there'll be action later this spring or summer. So in my goal of turning this over to Anthony, what we see is ongoing pressure to increase wage and benefit costs coming from state and local governments. The phenomena of moving to the local level is recent. It's more in the last 2.5, 3 years we've seen this burgeoning, if you will, phenomena. There's an ongoing effort by organized labor to get a foothold in the hospitality sector, particularly in restaurants. Surviving under this pressure will require all businesses to change how they do their businesses, plan for change, and to be looking ahead. And what are some of the things that we expect to see out of this? I'm going to turn it over to our CEO and President, Anthony Anton, who's been doing an awful lot of thinking about this. Thank you.